Anger and fear on the streets of London as the consequences of the Conservative government's controversial political decision set in.
It is an election stunt. They want to kind of sow division and hatred because they know that wins votes.
Asylum seekers who arrive without permission may soon be flown to Rwanda in East Africa for resettlement.
People must know that if they come here illegally, it will result in their detention and swift removal.
This is what happens when you have a government in decline. I, for one, will not be a part of that. These people are our neighbours, and I am their neighbour.
Even though the first flights aren't due to leave until July, immigration officials have started detaining asylum seekers.
Show me what community looks like!
In London, these protesters stopped a bus taking several from a hotel to a barge called the Bibi Stockholm, floating off the south coast of England, where their fate is unclear.
After hours of peaceful protest, tensions have now boiled over and police are forcefully removing the demonstrators.
Those unwilling to move are dragged away and pushed into police vans. Dozens were arrested, but the bus left without any passengers.
I've seen an elderly person shoved, literally flew through the air. Another woman who's got walking sticks, she was just laid out on the street. As a woman having a panic attack with police forcefully holding her arms. You're community policing what's happened to you. Care about something. Shame on you.
Similar to Australia's Stop the Boats policy, Britain's Conservative government has taken a hardline approach to those making the journey across the English Channel. Both share the objective of deterring asylum seekers by sending them offshore where their claims are processed with no prospect of return. Former Coalition Foreign Minister Alexander Downer advised the UK government on its Rwanda plan.
It looks like the migrants who did get onto that boat are in trouble.
Anyone who arrived after January 2022 is affected, meaning the future of more than 50,000 people seeking asylum now hangs in the balance. Plans to enact the policy were thrown into disarray in November after Britain's Supreme Court ruled it was unlawful over human rights concerns. The government responded by signing a new treaty with Rwanda, adding more safeguards and passing legislation declaring it is a safe country.
We are ready, plans are in place, and these flights will go come what may.
At domestic level, we certainly see the Act which is telling every decision maker, any court, any judge, any migration officer, not to consider any international obligations when it comes to human rights.
It's very uncertain and clear. Any moment, anything can change.
Back at the protest, 27-year-old Nick Mohammed Nouri is among those asylum seekers fearful of what's to come. He's one of the group being moved from the hotel to the barge.
Most people who got it, just other people from the hotel, are afraid that the next step from the barge will be Rwanda. So it's very unclear. They do not give you clear information. I will not go to the Bibi Stockholm. I also have no other place to go as of now. So I'm in a dilemma of what to do. I definitely do not want to go. But if I am homeless, maybe I don't have a choice.
Frightened for his safety in Afghanistan, he came here legally as a student 9 months ago. Unable to pay the fees, he's now seeking asylum. Knowing of other young men who've been told they're going to Rwanda, he left the hotel without his possessions.
We'll bring them through. You could be putting them into this one. I'll be putting them into this one.
A charity run by Lawrence Smith in southeast London has managed to find him 2 weeks accommodation.
Who is included in that bail, who can go, who should not go. But as far as I know, it is for illegal immigrants. Not knowing what will happen next is much more stressful than knowing something bad is going to happen.
The asylum seekers in our community, there are some of those in the deepest need. Often they arrive here with nothing.
7:30 approached more than a dozen Conservative politicians for interview. None agreed. In a statement, the Home Office said it made no apologies for using every means necessary to stop the boats and save lives by breaking the business model of people smugglers. This vision, released by the Home Office before recent local government elections, shows border agents raiding properties across the country. Others have been bundled into vans after showing up for routine check-ins. But it failed to prevent a wipeout for the Conservatives, who lost almost half the seats they contested.
We're fed up with your decline, your chaos and your division, and we want change.
This is certainly one of the most radical pieces of legislation I've ever seen. And the fact that the Prime Minister has staked his reputation on getting flights off the ground in defiance of the Lords, domestic courts, international courts, is certainly astonishing in legal and political terms.
Asylum seekers are likely to mount legal challenges, but their chances are largely limited to personal circumstances that would put them in danger. Other appeals have already been filed. The union representing civil servants has launched an unprecedented lawsuit in the High Court.
Normally people would expect the government to uphold the rule of law. This is not usually a question that's asked around whether government's acting illegally and whether it's asking civil servants to break the law. So the idea that you can just pick and choose which bits of the law you ask the civil service to uphold is really important, because civil servants potentially are the kind of last barrier to a minister acting in an unlawful way.
While the cases make their way through the courts, for asylum seekers like Nick Mohammed Nouri, it's an anxious and uncertain wait.
So last few days were very stressful for me. I could not get enough sleep. I cannot go back home. I'm from Afghanistan, so the situation there is not suitable for me or for my family. Home is not back an option for me.